Hello and welcome to the latest CraftySniper's blog video. Right, it is now currently the day after Op Tristan, which is the second of Lincolnshire Airsoft Club's semi-serious airsoft events. We had Christ, what was the first one called? Galahad, that was it, Op Galahad about 3 months ago. And last night was Op Tristan. Right, what is this Op series? In Airsoft, there is mostly skirmish matches. That's what Lincolnshire Airsoft Club is known for. And you also have milsim events, which are basically massive events on huge sites. They can last anywhere from 12 hours to 3 days. You know, these are big, serious events. A lot of milsims in America. There's quite a few of them in the UK. I think there's one called the AI 500. I think is one of them, which happens once a year. But these type of events, they usually theme themselves off current military situations and scenarios. They have lots and lots of role players, and they're usually based at a ex-military base, and some of them are really, really good, and some of them aren't. But the main difference is that these events cost a lot of money for the players, because obviously this is a big site, lots and lots of overheads, and that's why they usually cost anywhere £100 and possibly more. But Lincolnshire Airsoft Club is running at the moment a series of smaller events, and these are not called skirmish events; they're just called Op whatever. So last night was Op Tristan. And Op Tristan took place at a brand new site, or brand new venue. Never been there before. Nobody had ever been there before, so that was a twist, shall we say. And yours truly was playing the part of a Russian FSB officer, which I believe is Federal Security Bureau, is it? I can't remember. But basically, I was an armed Russian individual. The two main teams at the moment, if you can call them teams, was the Separatists, who don't wear any form of real camouflage, and they're mixed matched, and they have pretty much any weapon system. AKs would be traditional. And then you have the Special Forces, led from an unnamed NATO country, who would be the typical Special Forces loadouts. And we do have a team at Lincolnshire Airsoft Club who are what I would class as a Special Forces themed airsoft team, and they were the backbone of the Special Forces on Op Tristan. The venue was a farm, an actual working farm, just north, I do believe, of Market Raisin in Lincolnshire. And like I said, nobody had ever been there before, not player-wise, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic to go to an airsoft site that wasn't something we've ever been to. The last Op Galahad, took place at Combat Zone, which is LAC's home venue, so everyone knows it. But to go to an actual farm where there's buildings and outbuildings and big old fields and all that kind of stuff, and this is happening in the middle of the night, by the way, so it was quite dark. It just added the next level to a standard skirmish event. Now, when the operation started, the role players and the separatists started at a farm building. They were going to be basically on the farm premises itself. The Special Forces were to be dropped off by a Chinook helicopter in 3 different positions out in the field somewhere, and would start their mission. Their mission, that I know very little of their mission, but one of their main missions was to capture a high-value target that the Separatists have captured previously, and get him back to his family, all that kind of stuff. There was also a little side mission involving yours truly, where I could be captured. Obviously, I am not a separatist. I am not a special forces person. I am a member of the Russian military, and this would have gone down pretty bad, politically speaking, if the Russia had been involved in any way, shape, or form in this special ops mission. My little, very small, about that big brief, which happened just before I started at the event, was that yes, I can be armed, and I was armed, but if I make an aggressive move towards the Special Forces guys, they'll shoot me. Now, to get the most information out of me, obviously, they need to capture me. So they have to try and disarm myself without, obviously, a massive firefight. What happened was the exact opposite, if I'm perfectly honest. I was stationed with the high-value target. I was in this barn, this massive open barn. I've got a massive combine harvester sat next to me, and I was with the high-value target, so I knew the Special Forces would come through to get the high-value target, the HVT, and I stood to one side because I wanted them to see the high-value target. I wanted to make the Special Forces team that came in think, because I didn't want them just to run in and shoot, because that's not what the whole idea was. Their mandate was to capture myself and to take back the HVT. The HVT himself was actually guarded at pistol to head point with the separatist leader. Now, he could die, but obviously it's a scenario where nobody on the separatist side and myself can't get away. We're at the back of this barn. There's no way out. If the Special Forces have come through, they're blocking us off. So it's how the Special Forces were to handle this situation. So the firefight begins outside the barn. We knew what was going to happen. There was two entrances. The Special Forces guys went in through the far hand entrance, and they eventually worked their way through to me, on our side, where there's myself, the HVT, and the leader of the Separatists. The leader of the Separatists is shouting out, I kill him, you know, all this guy is putting his role-playing up for awards and all that, he's shouting out. The HVT is screaming out, I'm here, come rescue me, all that kind of stuff. And I'm stood there. I thought, I'm going to make it easy for them. I'm going to stand in the open. I'm not hiding behind anything. My AK was down here. I didn't have it raised up in an aggressive stance, and give the Special Forces guys every chance to take me. If they point their guns at me and storm at me with 3 or 4 or 5 of their members, and they're all pointing rifles at me, I'm going to surrender and continue my story in the next operation by being a captured person. An intelligence coup. What happened was that the Special Forces guys came round, I saw the red lights looking at me, and I'm like, oh god, it's going to hurt, and all of a sudden, whack, BB, smack, chest. Now, unlike a skirmish event, we played it quite seriously when it comes to hit-taking. And I don't just mean putting a flag up and going hit, 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 all the rest of the usual stuff we do on a skirmish event. It was a case of, if you were shot in the arm or the leg, scream for help. They can. The Special Forces guys did have medics, and they can put a bandage on the limb that was affected and take you out. Obviously, if you're shot in the leg, they're going to have to carry you and work out if it's really that important. If you get shot in the chest or the head, you're dead. So 1 BB, smack. They didn't even think. They didn't even interrogate or shout any commands. It was just they came through, and I saw the red lights. That's all I saw. I knew there were at least 3 or 4 of them piling into our area, and I'm assuming even it was the first person that came through. I was the closest person to him. Swings his rifle over, thunk, 1 shot. Cracking shot, literally straight in there. So that was it. Boom, I'm dead. And my role on that night was over. It was at that point the fun and games begin. And I mean fun and games in a good way. Because once I died, once the Separatist leader had died, and once the Special Forces team had gotten the HVT out of the area, we put on our green lights, which mean we are dead and we are walking out to anyone, so don't involve us with anything. And I get to go back to the safe zone, and that's when I found food. the owners of the farm, I can't remember your names, I really can't, but I'm going to say big thank you. And I know a lot of other players will join me on this one with saying big thank you for the food you put on. I got in there, and there's cakes, a big chocolate cake, and there was brownies, and there were hot soup. Oh, the soup. The soup made the day for me. It was awesome. I think there was a mushroom soup. I'm not a fan of mushrooms, I'm perfectly honest. I didn't touch that one. But somebody said there's a soup with everything in it. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a vegetable chicken thing. And that's what it had. It had meat in it, it had vegetables in it, it had little bits of potatoes in it. And it was a paprika-flavoured soup. Oh, it was heaven. This is at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm in a farm. I'm north of Market Raisin. I'm in the middle of the countryside. It's bloody cold. I mean, it could have been a lot colder, but it was quite chilly. And I'm sat there. I've got my cup up. I've got my feet up. Oh, it was absolutely heaven. Brilliant. So, to you two, big thank you for the food and the soup. Delicious. And also, I'll take this time now to say thank you for letting us house, whatever it is, run the event even at your farm, because it just was brilliant. I was speaking to a lot of the other players, and they were saying not only was the event brilliant in the storylining and the role players, but the fact that the venue is something completely different. We're in a farm. There's a yard. There's big massive barns, and all the farm vehicles and whatnot. It was just so much different to running a match at Combat Zone. And like I say, it was absolutely fantastic. So a big thank you for you guys to letting us take over your farm for a night. Obviously, I've spoken about the Special Forces. I've spoken about the Separatists. Another huge portion of the event is the other role players. Now, I'm technically a role player. And as I said, I was Russian military. There was, I believe, was it 4 of them? 4 or 5 farmers who are the civilian population, and they have shotguns and they're dressed up like farmers. One was dressed up like a very posh farmer, if I'm honest, leather jackets and all that kind of stuff, and flat caps and all that. And they'd go around the farm area where we was, shining torches and talking to people, and not really saying much of anything. But the bit that made the night was the fact of this event is taking place in a fictitious Eastern Europe, Soviet bloc era kind of country, and there's these 4 farmers going around, sounding like they're from the West Country. And even though we're in the barn, these walls of these barns are very thin, so you can hear people walking and hear people talking on the outside of them. And all I could hear was, "Oh, I need me daughter, son. I need me forks and me. Oh, where's me tractor gone? You put tractor over there." And I just think, oh God, I'm going to die of laughter. It was hilarious. They really rose to the occasion and put on a absolutely fantastic performance. I think they died, if I'm honest. I do believe they were shot by Special Forces. I could be wrong on this. They were shot. I don't know whether it was Special Forces. Fairly certain it was. Or it could have been the Separatists and just got caught in the middle of a firefight. So there will be trouble for whichever way this one's gone and who shot them. But they just played this role brilliantly, absolutely. I mean, like I say, you're trying to be serious. You've got an A-cam, a big Russian guy in Russian camouflage, and he's scary, and then you hear, "Oh, sir, no, we do it. No, don't be that and all that," and you're just dying inside of laughter. So, like I say, they were brilliant. And to be honest, it's the role players, I mean, the normal players, the people that pay for the event, obviously make the event. But I think, to be honest with you, it's the role players that make it different. It's not a skirmish event. We don't have many role players in a skirmish event, but on this one, you do. And it gives people a choice. You may think, I'm going to go through that building there, and I'm going to take out who's in there, but it might be a civilian person. That civilian person has his or her own set of rules and regulations, how his and her going to react to your presence. So it makes you think. And that's the whole thing about these operations. They make you think. That's why they're different. They're not build sims. They're not skirmish events. They're sat in the middle at the moment. This is the second of the ops. Third one is planned for 3 months' time. And I do know information about it. I have been told a snippet of information regarding it, and I'm not going to say a damn thing. Other than you're going to have fun. If you've done the previous 2, you're going to love this one. And we want to try and make these grow as events. because they are something different that LAC wants to put on, and they've got the backbone of people that have done this for the real military. So these stories, you can almost believe them. And like I say, it's not a skirmish event, it's something different, and it's just fun. It's absolutely fun. And even though, like I say, I've gone to a farm in Market Raisin in the pitch black, by the time I got home, it was nearly midnight, I believe. I'm sat there having my coffee, and I'm like, oh, you know something, that was a really cracking night. I never fired my gun once, I died straight away, so that means my kill-death ratio is terrible. But it was a fun, brilliant night. So the future is very bright for these ops. There is a plan afoot. It is something that's going to happen not tomorrow, not in a few months' time. It's going to be happening, it's planned for a few years, because it's going to take a while to build up to a certain level. But there is plans, and that gives me a nice rosy feeling that I'm going to be part of this event, and hopefully, you know, it's going to be something that's going to really take off. So if you're looking for something that is different in your airsoft experience, you've done your skirmish events, but you don't want to go to a full milsim event, check out these LAC op whatever events. Go onto the Lincolnshire Airsoft Club Facebook page. And onto the events page, because that's where the events are going to be listed. Obviously, there's no information regarding the third of the ops, which is happening in 3 months' time, but it will start to become available when obviously the planning's gone into it. You can pick which side you're going to be on of the three basic groups: the bad guys, let's say, the special forces guys, and the role players. Once you select one of those groups, you will be put over to their Facebook page, which is locked away from everyone else. So I do not have access to the separatist page or the special forces page. So what this allows is, if you want to be a special forces person, you go onto that page, you can join that page, and you can start talking, planning, arranging, and doing whatever it is they're doing on their page. Same as if you want to be a separatist, you can go onto that page and talk and plan, and, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Is this kit going to be all right? You know, all that kind of stuff. Ask questions to guys and girls that have already done this. Likewise, if you want to be a role player, there is a role player Facebook page. And we discuss how we're going to do something, how we're going to come along dressed up as whatever role-playing idea the club boss has. So I've rattled on now for quite a while, and I hope to get out there that Operation Tristan was a huge success last night. Op Galahad was a huge success 3 months ago, and I'm pretty certain Op, whatever it's going to be in 3 months' time, is going to be a huge bloody success. So a big thank you to Lincolnshire Airsoft Club, the staff, to Ian, to everyone who made these events what they are. Again, a huge thank you to the owners of the farm for letting us take over your farm for a night. Absolutely brilliant, fantastic, well done. If you have any questions regarding what role I was playing or anything about the Op series, let me know. I can talk about some of the stuff. I can't talk about too much. I won't give out too much information. But if it's something that you think you're interested in, but just want to know a little bit more information about it, PM me. I'll quite happily talk to you about it. So I hope you found this video informative. Stay safe, and I will see you for a sniper scope very, very soon.